Hey everyone, it's your professional sarcastic man and seeker of attention, Chris here with a review of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Part 1, Phantom Blood, Volume 1. Or video review, whatever. Uh, I gotta say, I really love the JoJo, uh, the JoJo series. It's great. Legitimately, it is a good manga. Anime's good as well to an extent, but I do love the manga. Is great. I don't know what I'd be without this manga. It's not that quite life altering, but I knew I had to make a video about it somehow. Like, I joked with somebody. It's just like, it's probably gonna be like a few second video where I just say, read it, good. But we'll start off with Phantom Blood. Phantom Blood, as a whole, it's it's a basic it's a basic story. As I'll go through these videos, I'm just gonna do the first volume because this edition is split into 3 volumes. So part 1 is split into 3 volumes, and then so on and so forth with the future parts. But we'll go from there. And so we start off with just an introduction to a main focal point, a focal object, item within the story, the stone mask. It gives whoever uses it incredible powers. I'm not going to say who, but first introduced to Dio Brando, and I do like in retrospect they try to set this up as a kind of like, oh, Dio, he lived a he lived a tragic life. This is why he turns out to be evil. And it's like, if you know what happens later on, no, no, this like there was really no point of trying to give him like a sympathetic background because he's a major douchebag. Like, and so we're first introduced to Dio, pretty much tragic past, but he's a douchebag. Then we're introduced to Jonathan Joestar, JoJo. If you haven't noticed, JoJo is derived from the Jo from his first name and last name. It's something that the huge majority of like the JoJos throughout the series, that's how they get there. That's why they kind of share the same nickname, because they have for the most part they have the Jo in their names. There are at least three variations. There's 3 different ones that have a different way of getting that nickname, but we'll look past that. And with Jonathan is a Jonathan is a kind of he's a simple character. Like, he's just the standard gentleman character. As you see, I want to be a true gentleman. You are a woman in trouble. There are times when a gentleman has to be courageous and fight, even when his opponent is bigger than he is and he knows he's going to lose. So pretty much, because of his status, like his rich, high society status, he thinks because of that, there is a standard he has to live up to and exhibit. So he feels like he has to be a gentleman because it's expected of him. Although I feel like if Jonathan was a real person currently in like 2018, he'd 100% be a respecter of women's. But then we go to their actual JoJo and Dio's first meeting. And thing is, if you haven't read JoJo before or watched the anime, there's a lot of these just random like texts. They're supposed to kind of like set up the mood or express a sound effect as such. It's a staple with JoJo. That's something like just randomly like the Japanese symbols will appear, like like this one. Just like, you can tell how He just leaps. Like how you have to exaggerate. That's rule number one with JoJo. Nothing is simple. Phantom Blood story may be just a simple, basic story, but the people and what they do are not to an extent. So Dio just leaps out, jumps out of the carriage, just looks down and just out of just he just turns his head straight away, just essentially for a pose. And then you know how I was saying that Dio had, they tried to make it seem like you have to be sympathetic with Dio. He's evil because of his upbringing. Yeah, he kicked a dog. No, I'm not going to sympathize with that child of Satan, essentially. And pretty much Dio decides because he wants to inherit the Joestar, like he wants to become the heir to the Joestar family and riches and everything. He makes Jonathan's life a living hell. He just attacks him, turns all of his friends against him, and there's even one part, I think I actually skipped it. No, I didn't. It's not up yet. But apart from that, the girl that he saved earlier, Arena, they start hanging out together. They eventually fall in love, but Dio takes notice of this and he decides, I'm just going to kiss her. I'm just gonna just. This is a lawsuit waiting to happen, Dio. And this is always another thing. Like, you know how I said like they have to be like super like exaggerate everything, super fabulous and everything. It's just like randomly like, I know it's supposed to show like kind of the wind is blowing, but then all of a sudden his hair's blowing like this, and all of a sudden one half of it is just flowing upwards for it, and then same with here. It's supposed to be kind of like a to elicit, like with this, it's supposed to elicit shock, kind of like she's shocked, so her hair's kind of like, I don't know where I'm going with that, but but this leads to like how I got into JoJo is because of this meme. The first person you kissed wasn't JoJo, it was me, Dio. The what was it, the how was it in Japanese? The kono Dioda. that that phrase, like, because I saw the meme and I'm just like, what is this? What is this? This is obviously an anime? What is this? And I had to look what it was. Like, okay, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. What is it? I'm gonna have a look at that, and that's how that's how I became a JoJo fan. I'm one of the ones who became a fan because of the memes, and then I started watching the anime and reading all of the manga as well. And so we go forward a little bit more. JoJo and Dio have a fight, which leads to the Jonathan finding out something suspicious about the stone mask. There's a lot of I don't know what's the phrase. I want to say Chekhov's gun. You know, the whole, if there's a gun in one scene, it has to fire in the next or whatever. It's setting up the plot further on, and then here, main Despicable Dio act number 2. He freaking put Jonathan's freaking dog into a furnace and it got accidentally burnt alive. Jesus Christ, Dio. God. But 7 years later, they become friends. Jonathan thinks they're becoming friends. Dio is just playing it up, and this is where the art style kind of changes, where the over-exaggeration intensifies. It's just like, look, there's like no, that's supposed to be like his leg it's close, like, so if it was at a camera, it looks bigger than everything else, but like, look at all of that. It's a small head on a huge ass buff body. Like, when I saw this, I thought, did Rob Liefeld draw this? Did Liefeld draw this? Like, look at all these muscles. But they go forward and like see like this, like just random posing, and he's just thinking to himself like, "Ooh, my day of my like my whole dreams are going to be come true soon. I better just randomly just pose here and think about it." But uh, essentially, Jonathan finds out that Dio is poisoning his father, and he goes out to search for an antidote or the person who gave Dio the poison. Skip forward a bit and see, like, look at this, like small head and then just extremely huge body. It's just like for the first three parts of JoJo, Phantom Blood, Battle Tendency, and Stardust Crusaders, a lot of the a lot of like human anatomy is over exaggerated. it's like it's like, oh no, they're just very manly and buff dudes. Like, come on, what's wrong with that? But then we're introduced to Speedwagon, who it's kind of with Speedwagon, it's just like he's not a terrible character. He's just a very plain, simple character, and it's just his motives for like being friends with JoJo is just like, oh, you're a gentleman. I respect that. Okay, like like the thing with like the characters in part one, they are simple to their basic like core. So Dio is evil, Jonathan is a gentleman, Speedwagon is just the main supporting guy. Like as you'll well, I'll probably talk about like in another video about this. Like Speedwagon just becomes the guy that narrates everything. He's supposed to be, like, he shouts and narrates everything. It's kind of like if you've watched like a Japanese like TV show or something. Or just even in an anime, there's that one comedic character that always shouts everything, and it's supposed to be funny that he's shouting everything. That, to an extent, that's what Speedwagon is supposed to be. So he's the guy that shouts everything. Uh, Go forward a bit. Dio finds out that using the mask turns one into a vampire, which he decides to use for his plans later on when he gets cornered. He's about to get arrested. Oops. Oh, Jesus Christ. Now the thing here with this, like this line, "I quit being human." I like the original, like I think it was like the fan subversion of the manga, where it says, I reject my humanity, JoJo." It has a better it's better sounding than "I quit being human, JoJo." It's like, "I reject my humanity, JoJo." It's all intense. It just sounds better, and I'll just leave it there for that volume. Talked about it enough already. So that's just a video for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Hopefully, just this is the first one. I'll go through each of the volumes. But thoughts on it? It's a standard start to a great series. My kind of like, but in hindsight to all of it, um, in regards to all the parts, part one I say is like the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers of JoJo. Outside of nostalgia, it's not necessarily a great series. Uh, Mainly because the ones later on proved to be much better. Part 7, Steel Ball Run, is by far my favorite of the JoJo parts. It's a bit long, but I 100% just like full on enjoyed Steel Ball Run. But like in comparison between Steel Ball Run and Phantom Blood, Steel Ball Run is great. It's definitely the best of those two. But this isn't like full. This isn't like a full on terrible series, but compared to everything else, it it's a bit lower. But that's it for the video. Leave a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow me on Twitter, check out my previous videos, and I will see you all next time.